My brothers and sisters, and my beloved confreres, I extend a very hearty welcome to each one of you on this 27th Sunday of the liturgical year. Once upon a time, there lived a guru, a master. 3 disciples also joined to live with him, to learn the art of living. After a couple of years of their stay together, one day the master called the disciples to him. He gave to each one of them one each apple, and he told them, "Eat this apple without anyone seeing it." Eat this apple without anyone seeing it. The 3 disciples went away. One of them just turned to the other side and ate the apple. Another one wandered a few meters away, saw a big banyan tree, and hid himself behind it and ate the apple. The third one went on wandering. He went around to find a place to hide himself to eat the apple. After a couple of months, he came back to the master, crying aloud, "I cannot eat this apple. He is everywhere. I cannot eat this apple. He is everywhere. He is seeing me." The moment of enlightenment. God is everywhere. God sees me. I cannot hide myself from him. Yes, my brothers and sisters, God is everywhere. He is present in every situation of our life. The gumption of God is the sign of his proclivity. He is constantly and regularly accompanying his people in every situation of their life. This accompaniment of God and his ever-living presence in the life of his people is beautifully presented before us through the readings of the day. Jesus today brings before us the wonderful imagery of the vineyard. This imagery of the vineyard is strongly backed by the Old Testament. Prophets like Ezekiel, Jeremiah, and Hosea beautifully speak about the concept of the vineyard, relating it to the people of Israel. Hosea in chapter 10 verse 1 says, "Israel is that vine planted by the Lord to be fertile and to be productive." Psalm 80 beautifully mentions, Israel is the vine that is plucked out of Egypt and is planted in our land. But the most beautiful imagery of this vineyard is presented by Prophet Isaiah. In the first reading today from the book of Prophet Isaiah, chapter 5, verses 1 to 7, we hear how God takes care of his people by accompanying them and initiating his own goodwill in their lives. Prophet announces the presence of God in this way. "My beloved had a vineyard. He planted the best of the vines in this vineyard. He dug it out, removed all the stones. He built a watchtower and hewed a wine vat in it." But in spite of all these good things that the Lord did, what was produced by this vine was wild grape. Now Yahweh the Lord cries out, "Judge between me, inhabitants of Jerusalem, people of Judah. What more should I do for my people? Have I not done everything what was their need? But why did they produce wild grapes?" This cry of God is relevant and resounding in our times too. We have not learned from history. History is not merely a narration of a story. History is the events in the life of a people which we, the younger generation, need to understand and live upon, so that the effect of their experiences will be beneficently produced and given to us. Yes, my brothers and sisters, this is the call that we have today. People of Israel, in spite of the goodness of God, did not learn from their mistakes. Therefore, Jesus brings up this story of the vineyard once again into the lives of the new Israel. He presents the story of a householder who planted new vine in his vineyard. He too dug it out well. He poured water for it, built the tower, and hewed a vine vat for it. He leased out this vineyard to the tenants. And you must know, that was the culture of Israel. The landowner leases out the vineyard to the tenants. But by chance, if he dies accidentally without a heir to inherit it, then the vineyard goes to the tenants. That's why the tenants are shouting out here, "He is the heir, let's kill him." When the landowner sent the servants to collect the due, what did they do? The tenants stoned at some of the servants. They beat some of them, and they killed a few of them. A second time he sends again his servants, but they did the same to them too. And now he decides, I will send my own son to them, and they will respect him. This is the story of God the Father. In the case of the people of Israel of the Old Testament, God's mercy and compassion was shown to them by bringing them out of the slavery of Egypt, liberating them from the clutches of slavery, and giving them a new life by journeying with them through their exodus and giving them the promised land. In the case of the new Israel, Jesus comes to save them. His mission is fulfilled by serving them. But what he received was death, but as a consequence, also his glorification. Today, we are reminded of the necessity to show our commitment to the call that God has given us. He is everywhere. He is present in every situation of our life. Are we faithful enough to respond to him? My brothers and sisters, what is the consequence of this imagery of the vineyard in our own lives? I would interpret it in this way. The landowner is you and I. The father and mother of a family are the landowners. The vineyard is the space that we have to live together, our own families. The vine are our children. The protection that we give to them is the watchtower. The hard work and the accompaniment that we give to them is the removal of the stones and building of the hedges. Are we able to accompany our family, our children, our life partner as the true householder who is able to accompany them in every situation of their lives? Are we faithful? Are we committed to the mission God has entrusted us with? St. Paul, in the second reading today, reminds us of the way to achieve this commitment in its perfection. He says, constantly be in prayer and supplication. Whatever is true, whatever is genuine, whatever is just, whatever is right, you must do it, so that you would be able to understand the plan of God in your life. Let's remind ourselves of the truth. God is everywhere. He is present in our everyday life, and He accompanies us in spite of our smallness and shortcomings. Let us rise beyond our own failings and accept the plan of God in our lives. He is everywhere. Amen.